Welcome to Ghostly, the podcast that puts the paranormal on trial.
Every 2 weeks, I unearth a chilling ghost story, tracking down the legends, eyewitness accounts, and history behind a haunting.
And I, your friendly neighborhood skeptic, get to tag along to poke holes in her theories. My job is to find the logical explanations, the creaky floorboards behind the ghostly footsteps.
In the end, it's not up to us, it's up to you, our listener, to weigh the evidence.
Yeah, you get to decide, is it a genuine haunting?
Or is it all entirely senseless talk?
But before we summon the spirits today, make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. It's the best way to make sure that you never miss a spooky tale.
As always, we're your hosts.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca. Now let's turn down the lights and see what's waiting for us in the shadows.
Ooh.
Does the gray man haunt Pawley's Island?
Man, I this makes me think of Rocky. Hey, yo, Pawley.
Oh.
It's spelled different, though. But it makes me think of that. Yeah. All right. So there is a narrow strip of land off the coast of South Carolina, just south of Myrtle Beach, that sits between the Atlantic Ocean and a quiet saltwater marsh. It's barely a quarter-mile wide and about 3 miles long. For most of the year, fewer than 200 people call it home. But for over 3 centuries, this little island has drawn some of the most powerful people in American history. We're talking presidents, generals, millionaires, and movie stars.
Whoa.
It sounds like the cast of Gilligan's Island. It's called Pawley's Island, and it comes with a ghost, I guess.
I guess just off the coast of Pawley's Island, there is a chilling legend of a ghostly figure known as the Gray Man who appears on the beach right before devastating storms.
Now, I have to say, we might have referenced this episode before, or somebody very similar to it, because I remember us talking about someone that would warn people of storms. I'm sorry to jump the gun and do the spoiler here, but that's what the ghost does.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I think we can just, that's the general gist of the legend, but we'll definitely get into some specific examples.
But do you remember this?
No,
I
don't.
remember talking about somebody that did, and I mean, maybe it was some other podcast I was on or something. I'm not sure.
I don't think it was this one. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say, there is a thing in my brain. I will say that.
There's a brain worm?
There's a brain worm. It might be from, if you remember, back in I think it was maybe our first or second Christmas. We decided to do an episode of positive ghosts.
Yes. We might have mentioned this one in that.
It's possible. I thought I checked before I picked this as a topic.
Yeah.
But I may not. Our records are pretty shaky from back then.
From back in the early days.
Yeah, it's
so if you've heard this story, pardon us repeating it.
But we're definitely taking a much deeper dive.
Absolutely.
That was just a cursory.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about this is necessarily Christmas. So
think of this less as a spooky ghost and more of a positive ghost.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of ghost, Rebecca, do you have a ghost story?
I do.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
I still don't know why I went back to Pawley's Island that August. Maybe it was the way the sky looked. Bruised yellow and green at the edges. The kind of sky that made your stomach drop before your brain caught up. I told myself it was just a quick walk. One last look at the water before the storm hit and we had to board everything up. The beach was empty. That should have been my first clue. I was maybe 100 yards down the shore when I saw him. A man in gray. Coat, hat, the whole thing. Just standing at the waterline, still as driftwood. I figured he was a local, ignoring the evacuation orders, some stubborn type you see every storm season. I raised my hand to wave. He turned toward me, and I felt it before I understood it. This cold pressure in my chest, like something was wrong with the air between us. And then he was just gone. No splash, no footprints in the sand leading away, nothing. I stood there for 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and then I ran. I packed my car in 8 minutes flat, drove 3 hours inland, and didn't look back. My house was one of the only ones on that stretch of beach left standing. I've never told anyone that story until now.
Ooh, until ghostly.
Until ghostly.
So how much of this is based on reality? I mean, we already talked about there's this.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a conglomeration of, the kinds of stories.
All right. Now, let me tell you what this man, what I picture in my head to be this man.
Okay.
It is the Gordon Fisherman, except it's not yellow. It's all gray that he's wearing.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what I picture.
Okay. I picture like Clark Kent in like 80s Superman, but again, gray. So like the hat, like the newsman hat, the newsman like suit. I don't know why.
Well, I'm picturing like full on facial hair, longer hair.
Oh,
I'm picturing all of this.
I'm like clean cut.
Wow.
Yeah.
How could we be so different in this?
I don't know.
Man, I don't know.
We'll have to go and try to see him.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about the pet facts.
Pets, facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pets, facts. He presents it all to you. Pets, facts, facts.
Pet facts.
All right. So, long before any European ever set foot on this stretch of the coast, two tribes called it home. We have the Waccamaw and the Winyah. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, I am sorry to anybody that calls those tribes ancestors. So they had lived in this part of Carolinas for more than 10,000 years.
Wow, 10,000 years.
Yeah. Then in 1521, the Spanish explorers arrived and everything changed, right? Mm-hmm. We have diseases, we have enslavement, we have starvation. The Winyah tribe was gone within 2 centuries. Though the Waccamaw survived, and their descendants still live in Conway, South Carolina today. The first European to actually claim the island was a man named Percival Pawley.
Percival, there you go.
Yeah, we don't have enough Percivals anymore. We need more Percivals. Let's bring this back. If you are expecting, I hope that you will name your child Percival.
No, please don't.
So this person received land grants from the colonial government in 1711. In the way back years.
Mm-hmm.
His family, his sons, George, Anthony, and Percival Jr.
Oh, so, he kept it going.
Yeah, maybe there is a Percival. Maybe there is a Percival Jr. Jr.
I don't mind Percy. Like, it's not, that's okay.
I like Percival. It's distinguished.
There you
Although
go.
this kid would probably be picked on, I would imagine. But, I mean, I still like the way it sounds as an adult. If they can get past their childhood years.
Yeah.
Which I think things have gotten better about teasing with names.
Sure, there is some of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they eventually sold off the parcel of the surrounding land to wealthy rice planters looking for a place to spend the summer. And so an island was born.
Okay.
I mean, not that it wasn't there before. But,
right, but similar to today.
Yeah. So by the early 1800s, Pawleys Island had become the summer retreat for some of the richest families in the South. We have the Alstons, the Elstons, the Alstons, the Tuckers, the Wards, and the Westons. These were the great planter families of Georgetown County, and they ran the land around Pawleys Island with staggering wealth. By 1860, Georgetown County was producing more rice than anywhere else in the world, save for Calcutta, India.
Wow. I don't really think of rice being grown in America.
And for some reason, I don't think of Calcutta in India as being the place where all the rice comes from.
Oh, so. That makes much more sense to me.
Not to me.
I usually think of China, but that makes more sense than here for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the rice fields or Vietnam.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we literally had the Rice Kings.
Oh,
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes. And I'm imagining they might have had slaves. I mean, it's just a guess.
I don't know why you would think that. I don't know. That wealth, though, came at a terrible cost, as Barkley would say.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Yeah, as Charles Barkley would say, a terrible cost. The rice fields were worked by enslaved people in brutal conditions, knee deep in water, in suffocating heat, surrounded by mosquitoes that carried malaria. And the planters moved their families to the island each summer, in large part to escape that same malaria. They got the sea breeze. The people who actually built their fortune did not.
Yeah. Okay.
So in the spring of 1791, President George Washington himself.
What?
Remember the one that died on what side of the bed? The middle of the bed.
Yeah, of course.
Made his southern tour of the new nation, stopping along the South Carolina coast. On April 28th of that year, he arrived at Pawley's Island, spending the night before moving on to visit the Alstons, or the Alstons. No, this is the Alstons, yeah.
Just one letter different.
Oh, man, that's difficult. The Alston family at their plantation on Waccamaw River. Even though the first president of the United States made his way to this little island.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, so then we're going to fast forward to the Civil War.
Okay.
After the Civil War ended, the rice economy, the plantations crumbled.
No more rice. Okay.
No more rice. We didn't want it anymore. By the late 1800s, wealthy families from the north had started buying up the land around Pawley's Island, and they brought serious money with them. Serious money.
So the Northerners came down and started buying the land.
Yeah, such is the way.
Yes.
One of the most remarkable figures to move into the area was Bernard Barch, a Wall Street financier from South Carolina who had advised U.S. presidents from Woodrow Wilson to Harry Truman. Starting in 1905, Barch quietly purchased 14 former plantations and merged them into a 16,000-acre estate that he called Hobcaw Barney. I didn't expect that.
Barony? Like, is he trying to be British?
Barony.
Hobcaw Barony.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like the British. We're going to create barons here. Sorry.
But that was just north of Georgetown.
Only in America.
He used it as a private retreat.
A private retreat.
And the guest list was extraordinary. We had Churchill. He came in 1932 to recover after being struck by a car in New York City.
Oh, geez.
I didn't realize that.
No.
Then we had FDR.
Oh, yeah.
He arrived in the spring of 1944 for what became the longest vacation of his 4-term presidency. Yes, he did serve 4 terms in office, spending 3 1/4, something like that.
I mean, this is why we passed a law.
Spending 4 weeks resting at Hobcaw as the weight of the World War II bore down on him.
Interesting. I mean, it sounds like a beautiful place.
It sounds beautiful. By the 20th century, Pawley's Island had become a beloved destination for families up and down the East Coast. People kept coming back, generation after generation, for the quiet and the salt air. I guess salt air is a great thing to have.
Oh, yeah.
And the people who lived there were protective of it.
Oh, sure.
Extremely protective of this area. In 1986, residents officially incorporated as a town and adopted an ordinance banning commercial development. Their motto:
keep Pawleys as it is.
Keep Pawleys as it is, yeah.
Yep.
Hollywood found the area too. The 2004 film The Notebook, starring Ryan Gosling, what was that recent movie? Project Hail Mary.
Yeah. That was really good.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it.
And Rachel McAdams was filmed largely in Georgetown County.
Wow.
The same stretch of the Carolina coast that had drawn rice planters, presidents, and war heroes for 3 centuries. The marshes and the old plantation land that make up this region gave the film its timeless southern feel. So I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay.
So, I mean, that's the general history of the island.
Yes. Okay. That is. But now we're going to talk about your grayish man.
The gray man.
And we're not talking about Gandalf either, right?
No, I should have thought of that first. Yeah.
In September of 1822, a massive hurricane tore through the coast, killing around 300 people in what is now Horry and Georgetown counties. Climatologist Carrie Mock of the University of South Carolina described the destruction as comparable to Hurricane Hugo in 1989. It was one of the deadliest natural disasters in the region's history. And out of the storm came a story that people in Pawleys Island still talk about today. Legend says that a young man was riding to the island to see his fiancée when his horse got caught in the thick pluff mud of the coastal marshes. He never made it. But not long after, she saw a figure on the beach, dressed in gray, looking just like him, and he told her to leave the island. She did, and her home was one of the few that survived the storm. Since then, people have reported the same thing. A gray figure on the beach before a big storm, before Hurricane Hazel in 1954, before Hurricane Hugo in 1989, when a couple named Jim and Clara Moore spotted him and evacuated. Their house was spared, while neighbors' homes were destroyed completely. Their story aired on Unsolved Mysteries on October 31st of 1990, so on Halloween. There were reports again before Hurricane Florence in 2018 and Hurricane Ian in 2022. So Pawley Island today looks a lot like it always has. The old cottage of cypress and pine still sit along the shore, and there are no chain restaurants, no big hotels. The town meant it when they said that they wanted to keep it as it is. And every time a storm starts to build out over the Atlantic, a few people still make their way down to the beach, not just to watch the sky, but to see if anyone walking along the shore in gray, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry if I stole some of your thunder there, but we can
Those
still
are pretty
debate
much all the stories we're going to talk about today.
but we can still debate them. Now.
We can. We'll go into a little bit more detail on them. Yeah, and actually, I had something to add to. I put it here because it's not really the ghost part of it.
Yeah,
but it kind of is. So I don't know, but it's not really something necessarily to debate because I don't think there's any way to debate this. But I guess I didn't realize this until I got a little deeper in the research that there is some debate as to who the gray man actually is.
There is, yes.
So there's the drowned suitor that you mentioned. That's kind of the classic, which, I mean, by the way, if you are of a certain age, this story of the man and his horse getting stuck in the mud is traumatically reminder of a never-ending story. Like
the never-ending story.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a tough part.
That's anyways, okay.
I've seen a YouTube video where they saved the horse and the horse lived on forever then.
Well, and he does, in the end, he does come back, but it's just,
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Super sad part of that movie.
Yeah. Spoiler alert from a 90s movie, was it? Or
80s?
80s movie? Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. It's on VHS. That's all I know. And I would fast forward that part after a while. Okay. Anyways, but theory number 2, and I'm guessing it's because it's gray, the person in gray, that it could be a Confederate soldier.
Okay.
So in this version, the gray man was a soldier that was fighting in the Civil War who somehow crossed back to warn his family on Pawleys Island of an approaching storm. The family heeded the warning, evacuated, and survived. And then days later, they got a telegram informing them that he had died, meaning that whoever they saw, they thought they saw their son, that he was actually already dead. It doesn't really fit with the 1822 first sighting, but, it's something that was definitely retold over and over again. So, who knows? And then I thought the last one was kind of interesting because it's an actual person, a name, Plowden. So I forget Percival.
I still want Percival. Plowden doesn't
It doesn't do anything for you?
And is Plowden their first name or last name?
Plowden is the first name. Plowden Weston.
Plowden Weston.
You mentioned the Westons.
Yeah.
One of the wealthier, more...
Weston girls. No.
So he was a real person.
Yeah.
He was born in 1819. He was a Georgetown rice plantation aristocrat who owned the land that is now the famous Pelican Inn on Pawleys Island. And he was known for dressing his men in gray uniforms, unusual for the time. He died young of tuberculosis before the Civil War ended. Local lore says he never really left Pawleys Island and that his gray-clad spirit still walks the shore watching over it. And the co-owner of the Pelican Inn himself has pointed out the timing issue would have been a child in 1822. But, I mean, so I guess that's probably why we don't see those two stories often. It's more... All right,
so do you want to take theory 3 out of it then? So, let's come up with what is your theory of who this is. Otherwise, we have to go through each one of these examples.
I think more credible is... that it was just some unknown person. The I don't know if it was a fiance, but definitely.
Okay. So out of the 3 theories, you would lean more towards
the
theory
first
1. Yeah.
Okay. Because the other 2 are just out of the timeline.
Just because I do have stuff to say about every single one of them. But if we're going to narrow it down, then I don't need to say all the other stuff then, because I mean, the plausibility of 2 and 3 seem highly unlikely that they were the people.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, interesting.
I just didn't want to not mention it. I said, I'm moving forward. We're going with theory 1, I think, but I didn't, if someone out there is a really knowledgeable of the gray man, I didn't want to
leave it out. But just so we all are aware, this is a very controversial episode that we have going on here, because there has been a lot of debate, a lot of debate about these 3 particular candidates.
Oh, I didn't even, I focus more on the sightings of the gray man, not necessarily on who he was, but
that is part of it. And,
we can debate
as a skeptic,
if you want.
As a skeptic, I would say if I can eliminate those possibilities, it eliminates the chances of there being a ghost then. So that's why I bring that up. But anyways.
I see.
All right. So
it may come back up. We'll find out.
So let's turn it over to our sponsors and we'll be right back. All right, Rebecca, we are back. And okay, so let's talk a little bit about the 3 theories.
Okay, so we're going to start the debate.
Yeah, I want to start talking about this first, though.
Okay.
So we have the drowned fiancé. A young man riding to see his fiancée drowns in the Plough mud marshes in 1822. This is the most widely repeated version. No historical records identify who this man was, who his fiancée was, or where either lived. The story has no named participants and cannot be verified at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's theory 1. Then your next theory was the Confederate soldier. Mm-hmm. So some accounts describe the gray man as the ghost of a Confederate soldier who died in battle. The Civil War ran from 1861 to 1865. The first reported sighting of the gray man is documented from 1822, though, nearly 40 years before the Confederacy existed. This origin story is also impossible then.
Yeah.
All right. So then we have Plowden Weston. And you had said, but some versions identify the gray man as Plowden Charles Jenrette Weston.
Oh, fancy.
A rice planter and the original owner of the home that became the Pelican Inn. Weston was born in 1819, so he would have been 3 years old.
Right.
So that makes it impossible too. Let me also say, the legend is The legend is said to date back to 1822. However, it did not appear in print for the first time until 1946.
Yes.
That was 124 years later.
Mm-hmm.
In Julian Stevenson's Bollock's book, Waccamaw Plantations, no newspaper accounts, diaries, letters, or other contemporary documents from 1822 have been found that reference the gray man or the story of a young man drowning in the marsh. The legend exists entirely through oral tradition until the mid-20th century. So just to put us into perspective.
Yeah, no.
I like to ground us in, a little bit of a factual thing when we go into this debate, because this is a hard one, because it sounds extraordinary. It sounds like amazing that there's this positive ghost that goes out of his way to warn you of a storm, because he wouldn't be impacted by the storm that probably did him in eventually. So.
Well, I think it's good to think that, ghosts are not always a negative spirit. They might be there to
guide us.
Yeah. And I think, we'll definitely, this is, I have thoughts.
But there are issues with the story to start off with. Let's just agree to that. There are issues so far.
So just to think about it, and I think we'll kind of we'll circle back after we talk more about the official sightings. So the idea is that something happened or whatever that caused people to start telling this story. Hey, there's a man that shows up on the beach to warn us of storms. Right? It's all 1822, right? Again, I don't know how the story started, right? That's too long ago. Especially here in the Americas where it wasn't like there was especially with a Native American tradition, and I'm sure, the people that live there, it was like oral tradition was just common. You didn't write things down necessarily. But anyways.
I do have two thoughts on that, but maybe we should wait till we... Yeah. Does that come up in the debate at all? Or should we do that here?
Let's wait.
Okay.
Yeah, let's come back to this after we listened a little... We talk a little bit more about the actual sightings that we have. Okay. So let's start with what you first told us about, right? So I'm not going to retell everything because I don't like to think back on the pluff mud, which I meant to look up what that is, but it sounds marshy.
Yeah, definitely. It's watery mud.
Yeah, quicksand like marsh. What's interesting? I'm just going to, as an aside, right? There's always this joke about how Gen X... Yeah. We were so worried about quicksand. Yes. And then someone's like, and there's no quicksand. No, there is quicksand. There is. It
doesn't work the same way.
It's not the same, but there is stuff. I'm not, but marshes are scary.
But here's something to think about. How many deaths are attributed to quicksand? Not as many as I thought when I was a child. Well, I thought there was thousands of people dying of quicksand, that this was something that I needed to be aware of. So.
But also I think quicksand is just like a blanket term for things like pluff mud or marshes. You know what I mean? So just there are things to be aware. They just don't maybe call them quicksand.
Maybe they're microclimates.
There it is. All right. But the ghost sighting, right? So let's focus on that part of it. So guy dies, right? So the story is that his fiance was on the beach and his spirit appears to her and he warns her, take your family and leave. Get out of here before the storm hits. And I also start to think about, 1822, why was that storm so devastating? Because it's bad today, but at least we have more advanced weather equipment. And I'm sure there was a lot of folklore out there about storms, and you can tell if a storm might be bad, but I don't think most people would have known necessarily that this one's a hurricane. Yeah. And so it probably, a lot more people died from it because of that. So she was very lucky that this being was able to come to her and warn her. And, when the storm came through, the hurricane came through, then this is what I always think is interesting.
Who are we talking about? What was the person's name?
We don't have a name.
Okay, we don't have
for
a name.
This one, right? This is just the fiance.
The fiance.
This is 1822, right?
Some people believe that she was Alice Flagg.
Oh, I did not see that in my...
Yeah, but she was after that. She was born in 1833. So, yeah, whatever.
But there was a storm in 1822, right? There really was a hurricane that came through and devastated. Yeah. And supposedly, this is what I find interesting too. It's not just that he warns the person and then they flee and so then they live, but it's also then because they leave that their house survives.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I'm gonna answer all those at the end.
Okay.
So all of those kind of things.
The stories are all somewhat similar.
Yeah. So let's just go over more of the stories then.
Okay.
That you have listed, and if I have anything in particular for that story, then I'll bring it up. If not, we'll just wait till the end, and I'll give my idea of why these people are being saved.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Well, then let's go into number 2.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're getting into modern times, right? So 1989, Hurricane Hugo, Jim and Clara Moore, and as you mentioned, their story was told on Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Which is a TV show back in the day. September 1989, Hurricane Hugo is bearing down on South Carolina, one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded at the time. Jim and Clara Moore were taking their usual late afternoon stroll on the beach at Pawleys Island, something they did regularly. Jim described it this way on Unsolved Mysteries. You see so many people walking on the beach at that time of day. That particular afternoon, we only saw the one, and he was coming directly toward us. When I got within speaking distance, I raised my hand to say hi or beautiful evening, and he disappeared. So the figure was coming straight at them, and then all of a sudden, like, he was gone, and they evacuated. And not only did they survive, but their home survived. And that's when it really got national attention because it went on TV. And then I just want to mention that there is a second story that's also tied to that hurricane. There's also a man named Arnie Love that before the storm, his friend's husband drove to Pawley's Island property to check on things. He spotted what he thought was Arnie's father standing up on the lookout. When he went to say hello, the property was empty. His dad hadn't been there. Quote, who he thought was my dad, we now believe was the gray man. In the end, our house was spared.
Okay.
So there were 2 sightings for Hugo.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to refer to at the end then.
Okay. All right. So nothing specific that you want to raise doubt on.
It's going to be the same argument for each one of them, and I don't want to just repeat it every single time. I'd rather wait until...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one was a photographer. So this is Hurricane Florence.
Yes.
In 2018. So not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
In the days before Hurricane Florence made landfall in South Carolina, multiple tourists and locals reported seeing a shadowy figure in gray walking the beach at the north end of Pawleys Island. One account that stands out is a local photographer who was on the beach taking pre-storm shots, documenting the darkening sky, the rising surf, reviewed their frames later and found something they hadn't seen in the moment, a misty gray shape appearing in multiple consecutive photos at the same spot on the beach. Not someone that they saw when they were standing there, not a shadow they registered, but only when they looked at the photos that it repeated.
So also this was a video as well.
Oh,
you did a video of it. So
yeah.
I do have something to say about this one in particular. Then.
Okay, let's stop for a second then.
Before Hurricane Florence in 2018, a widely shared video and the pictures that you talked about appeared to show a shadowy figure on a pier. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, what did you think of them, first of all?
I thought it looked super creepy.
Okay. Multiple news outlets attributed to the gray man of Pawleys Island in South Carolina. The video was later confirmed to have been, and the pictures as well, have been filmed at Avalon Pier in Kill Devils Hills, North Carolina, not Pawleys Island at all. No verified photographic or video evidence of the gray man on Pawleys Island has ever been confirmed.
We're going to have another photo coming up here in a minute.
Is this from the Hurricane Florence?
No, this one's from Hurricane Idalia.
Well, but that is just a fact that it's never been verified to have been there at Pawleys Island. That this gray man is there. So there's nothing that distinguishes that from any other place. And that particular those photographs that you were talking about with the shadowy figure, those were all from this Avalon Pier. It has been confirmed that it was Avalon Pier.
So people believe that
they just missed that it was a different location.
Got it.
And this could have been just a person out there then too. At that point, this was not Pawleys, so this is not part of our debate. But that particular one could have just been a person that was out there. Now, if it was Pawleys, they had evacuated for that, and there were no people. So that would be really confirmative if that was the case, although it's not, because it was confirmed.
I don't know. That did not come up in my research, so I don't know. I will
cite my sources in the show notes.
All right. Now there was also another sighting before Florence.
Yeah.
A family that was visiting the island before the storm also reported a direct sighting on the beach. Their rental home suffered minimal damage, while surrounding properties were hit pretty badly by Florence. But they also claim to see a gray man.
And they have pictures?
No.
Oh, okay. Mm-mm. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll save that one for the other. The sightings and the saved homes, all that I'm going to save for the end.
Okay. I got one more to talk about, which is for Hurricane Idalia, 2023. Mm-hmm. And there was a meteorologist. This is August 2023. WPDE meteorologist Ed Piotrowski, who is still out there being a weatherman, a professional weather reporter. He shared a photo on his Facebook page that had been taken on Pawleys Island the day Idalia hit the region. On the left side of the photo, at the edge of the water, is a figure, indistinct gray, standing alone at the waterline. The post blew up. Commenters were divided. Some said it was photoshopped. Others talked about their own sightings. And the image is still out there, right? So we can all go look at it. And in fact, he actually just recently shared, like a few months ago, another image that somebody else took. So if you look it up, you might see different ones. But
unfortunately, you didn't share that with me. So
I didn't. I figured, we'll put it in the show notes and people can decide on it. A person, and the fact that, we'll talk about this later. That's kind of my argument part. But anyway, so no one has ever captured a clear photo of the gray man. It's always very blurry and indistinct. I will admit that.
And it's not just that. They can't verify where it's taken. Now, this weatherman would have been able to verify it, but but it's never been verified by any outside sources besides that. So that means that there could be something to it, like maybe he said that and it wasn't there. I'm not claiming that he's a liar. I don't know. I haven't seen the picture, so I can't tell you sure.
To me, this feels like a named person that's a public figure. So I'm pretty sure if it was found out that he was was not there.
Well, again, I can't verify that one because I have not seen it. So I'm going to give that one a 1.
Oh, okay.
With your Florence one, a 0 because it wasn't even there. This one, I'll give a 1 just because I can't argue what I can't see. So
gotcha.
All right.
Yeah, and it just those are the main sightings.
Okay.
And obviously, you guys, this episode is turning into something a little different because it really is debating a legend.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is it's a ghost, but it's like a singular ghost legend. So it's a little different than some of the other ones that we do. So yeah, I think it really just comes down to us having a debate about the legend itself.
Well, and is it a ghost? That is something, maybe it is a real person, that goes out there. There's nothing saying that it's not, there's nothing that like we tried to touch him and it didn't,
there's that he just disappears into thin air.
Well, but that could okay. So there's other things that can happen too. So let me go over my side.
Okay.
Then. So I want to talk about 2 different things. The central claim of the gray man legend is that people who see him, right, they evacuate, hopefully, and return to find their homes undamaged.
Yes.
And I will say, if you are on Pawley's Island and you see this gray man, don't listen to me then. So do what you got to do, whatever. I mean, we'll talk about it later then, hopefully. So don't be like, Pat said you're not real, so I am not evacuating. If you want to do it, I would probably not, though, because, I mean, maybe I would.
Okay,
I don't know.
I was just going to say, listen, friend, if you see the gray man, you leave.
All right, but I want to talk about this, though. And this might be another microclimate thing for you, okay? This is a pattern, and it's well-documented psychological phenomenon called survivorship bias. Have you ever heard of survivorship bias?
Maybe.
It's a tendency to focus on cases that fit a pattern while ignoring cases that don't. Hurricanes damage some homes and spare others based on storm path, elevation, construction quality, and random chance. People who evacuated without any sighting and returned to intact homes don't generate ghost stories then. But the cases that fit the narrative get retold then. So there's tons of people that didn't see a gray man, left the island, and their homes were fine. So those don't get talked about in this equation. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. And then this is the one where you're going to probably say stuff. But in the days before a major hurricane, this is known too. Anxiety and sleep deprivation are common. So anxiety, because you hear about it on the news, you know it's coming. You have to make a decision on what you're going to do. You're waiting for an evacuation order because you don't want to leave your home and have everybody else stay. Mm-hmm. That leaves your home open to be robbed. It you spend a lot of money leaving too. So sleep deprivation because, of the same reason, the anxiety causes that. But both are well-documented factors that impair the brain's ability to correctly identify what it actually sees. Additionally, coastal atmospheric conditions before a storm, so we have sea fog, we have low light, humidity haze, and temperature inversions. They can distort the appearance of distant objects or people on a beach. A person walking on the shore in gray or dark clothing, seen through fog at dusk, can appear unusual or unrecognizable. You might be seeing a structure and not a person.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the post for this episode the picture.
Okay. I have not seen this picture though.
Well, and who knows, I gotta verify too.
So you couldn't be making me look like a fool by not showing me the picture and having me talk about what it could be beforehand. So.
But I think any photo, right? Because it is misty. As I said, there isn't a clear photo.
Sure.
But it doesn't, to me, the microclimate doesn't work. But again,
I didn't say it was a
that
microclimate.
Up to...
I said what actually is scientific evidence that people in the days beforehand, their judgment is impaired, and the conditions around that time can impair people's vision that makes them see things like this. You're seeing through dusk, you're seeing through fog. I watched the Bears Fog Bowl and I could only see legs. So does that mean that they're all ghosts because I only see legs walking? Or could there have been a ghost that I didn't see because of that then?
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe
you're bringing
maybe Papa Bear Hellas was there and I didn't realize it because the fog was there.
Okay, now whatever. I don't know where you're going with all that. Now you've said a few things, so now I have to go back, right, and talk about some of your arguments here. So looking at as far as
let's talk about the survivorship.
The survivorship bias. Thing. Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing: is like what's tricky about this one is that science has moved forward since the legend started, right? So when the legend started, it was at a time when, people didn't necessarily know that a hurricane was coming. They didn't know if it was just a bad storm that they could ride out or a hurricane. And I think it makes sense that if the legend is true as far as this woman who lost her fiance and he then coming from the beyond had knowledge of what was coming, that he chose to visit her. Now, does that mean for sure that nobody else, their property was going to get hit or what? Like, he just cared about her and like making sure that she was fine.
But I mean, we're making up this story, though. The story didn't actually exist. So we
don't know that.
Yes, we do. I went over that there's no way that the drowned fiance, that there's no historical records identifying who the man was, who his fiance was, or where either of them lived. The story has no named participants and cannot be verified at all.
Well, just because it can't be, I mean, again, oral history, I mean, sometimes that's what we have, right? So for me, if I take that as a potentially true story, right? Like there's a reason that he would show up to one person and not others. And that doesn't mean that other people, right, weren't also going to be okay, but he wanted to make sure she was going to be okay. Right. So then if we think about, then we move forward, right, through the years, our science got better and is able to pre-warn people. Like, so now we don't need a man in gray to tell us that this is a storm coming, but I don't know that the spirit world knows that, right? So if there is this spirit who, like, it was so panicked in death that he couldn't get to his fiance to warn her about something or whatever. I don't know the again, 1822, we don't know. If there's some sort of energy where this figure, this person feels like the need to come and warn people, I mean, he's, I don't know that he can warn everybody, but he's going to come and warn as many as he can. And if you're lucky enough to see him, then that means you might be spared. I don't know.
But
it's weird. It's weird.
You're taking something as fact that isn't necessarily fact. So I'm just saying.
He's been, there's just a lot of sightings over the years. And it to me, and I don't I guess I'll just say, I guess it doesn't, just because others have survived or others who don't see the gray man do survive doesn't necessarily mean, I don't know that the legend is saying only people that see the gray man survive.
Well, but we also don't know if people saw the gray man and died.
Ooh.
So there's another part to that too.
Well, there is agency though, right? You could see the gray man and not listen to the gray man, right? And you might die. And then that's on you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? I think this needs closing arguments where we can just say our piece without the other getting involved. So that will bring us to the aftermath. Stick around and find out more. We'll be right back. All right, Rebecca, what would be your overall rating then of all the evidence? I know we didn't give ratings in here, so now you're just going to have to come up with a rating of all the evidence. Then.
Yeah, I think it's just, do you believe this legend or not? And for me, I am going to, this is hard. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to go 7. I was debating of 6 or 7, but I think I'm going to go up.
What are you debating of? 6 or 7?
6, 7. Oh God, we're old. And yeah, I think just because, well, we'll talk about why, but yeah, I feel I'm leaning a little bit, more with it's just a lot of stories out there. How about for you?
Okay, well, I'm going to have to give it a 1 because I gave that one piece of evidence 1, which it's only because I don't see the picture. I have not seen this picture that we're talking about.
I'm guessing they're all very similar. All the pictures I saw were very similar, and I don't, so yeah.
It can be an actual person though, right? It can. There can be a person that's like, oh my God, I left my boat out on the thing. I better bring that in before the hurricane starts, and runs out to get it.
Well, I think,
and then someone snaps pictures. They're like, "Oh my goodness, there's a man out there. Take a picture of him. He's the gray man." There is that possibility. So I
will say that that's possible, but again, that's part of the whole, the misty fogginess of it all. Okay. All right. So, are we ready for closing arguments?
I feel ready. Do you feel ready?
I do. All right. So that brings us to the closing arguments. This is our last chance to convince you to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time. We will time each other on the Ghostly Studio timer to keep Pat honest.
I've never gone over. All right, Rebecca, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. And countdown starts now.
All right. Okay, so the gray man of Pawley's Island. It does. Now I think of The Sopranos. Okay. This is an interesting legend, and I don't necessarily need the photos to believe it. I think for me, the fact that this legend has been around, been told, and passed down for over 200 years, and that even in more modern times, we've had different people, multiple people before each big storm that see the gray man. That makes it more on the believer side of it for me. And I love the idea that this spirit is out there just helping to warn people like, hey, this is a big one. Because sometimes there's hurricane warnings and then it ends up not being as bad. But when he comes, it's usually a pretty bad storm. So if you see the gray man, listen.
Duck out. If you see the gray man, duck out.
There it is. Yeah.
All right. I am ready, so I'm going to start my own timer here. All right. So if this began in 1822 and we don't have any written evidence of this story ever existing until 124 years later, that to me means that we don't know if it was orally told throughout those other years. There's no documentation to prove it. Somebody could have just came up with it and said, I heard this from my grandma who heard it from their grandma. And we're taking somebody's word on this. So we're taking this old wives' tale as something that means something that doesn't necessarily mean anything at all. I have presented enough scientific evidence to rule out the existing things, except for the one picture that I haven't seen that was kept from me before this episode. So I am not able to give an opinion on that one. So that's all I got. It can't be real. Unfortunately, I want to believe too. I want to believe that there's this helpful ghost.
Whoa, that was close.
But I made it.
That was close.
So,
by the way, I believe old wives.
I mean, I might, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily true just because they're saying it. But you know what? If you have a ghost story that you are dying to share, you can.
Yes.
Ghostly has an official phone line. You can call or text us with your spooky encounters. And if you leave a voicemail, you might even hear it on the show. So that's one way. Instead of typing out everything, if you just want to say, hey, Pat, I saw the gray man of Pawley's Island. I left and my house was totally destroyed. So explain that then. So you can do that. And you can also just call to say hi or make your voice heard in our latest poll, like so many people have been doing lately.
Yes.
Here's how to vote. Text the episode title. You don't even have to. If you text us, we will attribute that vote to the last episode. All you need to do is say yes or no. And if you want to add to our formula, you can give it a score from 1 to 10. Just so yes, 5, no, 0, something like that, whatever
easy.
You want. Yeah. And the number is 312-869-9929. That's 312-869-9929. Rebecca, did you hear what I said?
Yeah, 312-869-9929.
What was that?
312-869-9929.
All right. So we do not have any shout outs. Usually we do this for Apple Podcast reviews or if someone becomes a new Patreon member. Well, we don't have any this time.
But you should check out our Patreon. You can go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon or find us in Patreon. Lots of different tiers to choose from, everywhere from $1 to $10. And you can get ad-free episodes, sometimes a little bit early. We also have all of our Ghostly X catalog on there.
Yeah.
Also interviews with your favorite Ghostly guests, as well as some extra cool
we did a whole
stories.
thing about secret societies, which
whole
was
series.
really cool. I would like to dive back into those because there's more too.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, and it honestly, again, we don't make money on this show, so your Patreon and your listens, all of that, just really help us keep it going.
Yeah, and add to the show so we can create new and better things. Like our ghostly studio timer was because of Patreon.
Absolutely.
Money, so how about listener mail?
We do not have any listener mail today, so I'd love to have some. We want to hear your ghost stories. Every time we go out and do something live, we always have people come up and tell us their ghost stories. So
unfortunately, we can't write them down at that moment.
Yeah, so we need you to send them to us.
Yeah, exactly. You can send us through email at info@ghostlypodcast.com or use the contact form on ghostlypodcast.com. And if you're really ambitious, you can actually send us like a postcard or an actual piece of mail in the mail itself. Remember that like post office thing you can do? And you can find all the information on that, the actual P.O. box that we use and everything at the bottom of ghostlypodcast.com, the footer it's called.
Yeah.
Just scroll down on ghostlypodcast.com and you'll see the address.
And of course, you can also call and leave your story on the voicemail, 312-869-9929.
312-869-9929.
Yes.
I guess we need to talk about
the polls.
The polls.
Pat's favorite. All right. In our last episode, we talked about the Egyptian Theater in Boise, Idaho. It turned out to be a lot of ghost stories. The votes were yes, 58.2.
Whoa.
No, 41.8.
Yeah, it's just because my skeptics were all on vacation at that time. Yeah, so they weren't able to get out. And they did do an overall rating of 4.1. So this is right in the middle. I think the last one was 4.12. And I think it turned out to be no.
Yeah. So how haunted, it's a debate.
So make sure, if you're saying no, it's not haunted, that should probably be super low because sometimes we get a no and an 8. That doesn't make any sense then. So it's like, to me, if it makes sense to you, explain that to us. Tell us why it was that, because I would like to hear that. But you know what you don't want to do? Let your friends miss out on chills. You can just share Ghostly with them. We share Ghostly everywhere we go.
Yes.
It's weird. We are those people that always talk about our podcast. And people are like, oh, you have this little podcast? Yeah, we have a little podcast where we talk about ghosts and we debate them. But you can share it with them and you can help our paranormal community grow. Your support means the world to us. Shout out to our VIP producers who make this all possible. We have Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica, Jessica was just at WrestleMania, by the way.
Yes.
So those that know Jessica, send her a message. And we also have Aaron, too. Is it real? You be the judge. Share your verdict at ghostlypodcast.com poll section and let the debate continue. Subscribe to Ghostly now and get ready for more spine-tingling encounters with the unknown.
Now, our next episode is super special.
Oh, it is, totally. I am so excited about this next episode. I can't even tell you guys. I am sleepless at night thinking about this episode.
Okay.
And it's 2 weeks away. I don't know what to do.
So if you don't know, we haven't talked about it on the podcast for a little while. We have a Ghostly book club.
Well, but how much does that cost though? I don't want to pay any. What?
Well, other than you have to get the book, but you can get the book from your library. You don't have to buy it.
Or you can do whatever you do to get the book. Even though we don't support that particular thing, we do give a link that you could use if you want to give us 30 cents or something like that.
Yeah.
We've never received any money from giving out this link. Although Amazon sends me something each and every month telling me that like you can check how much money you made. There's no money. There's no money to ever be made on this.
Okay.
But anyways, you could support Ghostly with that.
Yes. But yeah, so let's talk about, so Ghostly Book Club meets every 3 months-ish. So like 4 times a year, we pick a spooky book and we read it, and then you can join us on Zoom.
Wait, I just want to say when we say we pick out that it's not me and you.
No.
It is all of us.
It's the book club. Absolutely. We take suggestions. Absolutely. And then we'll read it and then come back together at a live meeting on Zoom to talk about it, usually a Thursday night. But we also have a Discord. If you don't know, Ghostly has a Discord server that you can join. And we have a book club.
Yeah. Message us if you want the link to the Discord.
Well, and actually, so all you need to do if you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, is if you go to ghostlypodcast.com and search for book club, I think it's under contact us, you can fill out a little form to join the book club. And then on the book club, once you get that, I will send you a message inviting you to the next book club. And I put in there a link to the Discord so that way you can get right there, sign up, join us. So if you can't make the live meeting, you can also go on there and chat and talk to people about spooky books. Doesn't even have to be the one that we're reading. But anyways, here's where we're landing then, how this connects to the next episode. So our next book club is April 30th. So it's coming up. And we're reading this spooky book, Dead Children's Playground. And
by James Cain, is that?
I think that sounds right.
Cain is right. I'm not sure about the James, but I think it is.
Yes. Well, we learned after reading this book, it's based on a real place and a real ghost story. And so we thought, okay, we need to dive into this and do an episode on it because that sounds amazing. So the next episode, we're going to be talking about Maple Hill Cemetery and the Dead Children's Playground. They're kind of next to each other in Huntsville, Alabama. And it comes out on May 6th. So you still have to, the book is not super long.
Yeah, it is James Cain.
James Cain.
And the cover is so cool.
The cover is super cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you got this far in it, but I'm going to spoil something.
Mm-hmm.
He actually got that cover idea from his daughter that drew a picture, even though she didn't know what he was talking about, and drew like this exact picture of his vision of what he wanted.
That's super creepy.
And it involves a playground with a dead child. you know, it's like,
super
and that
creepy.
was his daughter that drew that didn't know about the book.
There you go. So we're very excited about the episode and its connection to the book that we're reading for book club. So if you want to join book club, go to ghostlypodcast.com and look for book club. Join, fill out the form, and we'll send you emails. I promise I don't email too often, just a couple times for each meeting.
And we don't record that or anything like that. That is just between us and the book club to talk about, and we have a really good time. We get to know everyone really well. It feels like a little family that we have there.
Absolutely. We love it. So and then we're hopefully going to talk a lot more about the book and the story in our next episode.
That comes out on May 6th. So until next time, stay ghostly.
Bye.